Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, welcome. My name is Brittany. Today we're going to revisit the Mckamey Manor. I did some more research. Sorry it's taken so long to get this video filmed. I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. We had a wedding to go to. It was kind of crazy. So I'm getting this video out for you guys, but there's some more information that's come out. A lot of these are going to be based on videos that I watched about the Mckamey Manor and went deeper dive into about how sadistic and psychopathic he really is. So the first video that we're going to talk about the Mckamey Manor is the video, and these are going to be by Justice Sleuthing. I'm sorry if I get that name wrong. All the video links will be in the description, so anything that I talk about is going to be linked down there. You can watch the full video. I highly recommend watching those, especially Justice Sleuthing's channel. She's very detailed and she does a lot of homework. I'm assuming it's a woman, but she does a lot of homework on the Mckamey Manor, and she comes out with the videos to show you guys what it's really like. So I have my brother's tablet to show you this video because I don't know how to cut video since I do it from my phone. So if you guys don't mind, I'm going to play a video for you guys from Justice Sleuthing, and this is going to be the first video that we talk. So this video is actually called Previous Actors Reveal That Russ Mckamey is a Sadistic, Sick, and Would Blackmail Them. This one definitely you want to take a watch. So I'll hold it up to the screen and definitely listen to what's going on. This is according to the actor. Sorry if the audio is just a little messed up. I'm not sure how this is going to sound, but take a listen, guys.
I know. Hurry up, little bitch. Yeah, girl, I'm coming in right now. I like hurting people. Is there anything in your past that's influenced that? Definitely. Do you have any advice for Marissa? She shouldn't have shown up.
Hey boss, this is just so
She's
fucking
fucking
stupid.
dead.
You know what?
Guys, we're gonna fucking kill her.
Hey,
We're gonna mutilate her.
fucking leave.
When did you start working for Mckamey Manor?
Years ago, I just got out of the penitentiary. I'm a convicted felon.
What was the felony?
What the fuck, man? Is this about me? Is this about my personal life?
Please answer the question.
Murder.
I definitely pull out nails. I definitely cut the hair. I definitely shave the eyebrows. Anything that's done to me, I will make sure is done to them.
I look forward to it. Like a full, long, stressful week. And then finally again to release my anger out on a Sunday afternoon. I feel pretty good after.
Now listen, just for the record, I want to set it up straight. I am a convicted felon. I wanted to scare you guys. I haven't been convicted for murder. It's robbery. It's been robbery. That's it. That's what it was.
So this is all an act?
You think it? Just sign a waiver. I'll show you. You think this is a fucking act? Sign it.
So I'm going to fast forward this video a little bit because I don't want to show you guys too much about what happens. If you want to see part of Marissa Phillips' tour, then you can check out Justice Sleuthing's video. It'll be linked in the description. And this next part is actually going to talk about how Russ Mckamey would blackmail the actors. So he would actually blackmail them. This is according to one of the ex-actors. Like I said, I'm just watching it to get to this part. It's pretty graphic, so I don't want to show anything.
I was actually an actor. I've known Russ for a couple years. And I used to be an actor, but it kind of, the manners changed. Can I please be interviewed?
Show them out.
Without you interrupting?
Show them out.
I used to do it for the love of the hunt, for the love of scaring people, and it just got a little out of control. I think Russ is kind of unstable.
That's not true. No,
I think Russ is unstable, and I don't feel comfortable being alone with him anymore.
Blackmail us.
I think he's sadistic and he's
sick.
off his knocker. Yeah, he's crazy.
And you keep us here and you blackmail us. So it's fucking bullshit.
You know what?
Yeah,
That's bullshit.
I'm with these guys.
That's not true. That's not true.
I used to defend him because he's such a nice. He came off as such a nice guy, But then we all have our crazy sides, and we all have our crazy sides. All as actors, I'm just a little afraid, to be honest. And especially with all the haters and death threats and bomb threats and all the legal stuff, I'm kind of worried for my life. It used to be for the love of the haunt, and I don't know what happened.
It still is, okay? It still is for the love of haunt.
No, it's just because you get on to torturing people.
Fuck you, man. Fuck you. You know fucking shit about me.
Well, it has gotten tougher, but it's not as much as a scare psychological tactic as it is just bruising people. I mean, I got bruised a little today just by these guys roughing me up. And it's all about beating them to a pulp. I'm just saying, let's scare the fucking shit out of people. That's what I want to do. That's why I do it.
You haven't been here for months, so you have no idea. You don't know what you're talking about. You haven't been here since the chamber's been on at all. You've been out too busy doing your own little thing. You've been out doing your own little thing. You don't even give a shit anymore. So don't act, yeah.
I didn't know this was going to be a confrontation.
So she used,
And that's all to that video because, like I said, I don't want to show too much. So if you guys want to watch more, definitely check out the video. As you can tell that whenever the actors are trying to defend themselves, he's very hostile towards them. He's just not a good guy at all. And you'll see more through as we progress. I have a lot of videos to go over and a lot of notes. So I'm not sure how long this video will be, but let's move on to the second video. And I may show more throughout with the tablet as well as we go. So a video I found interesting is one that he is actually banned from Sonic. This is again Justice Sleuthing's video. He actually meets a participant to sign the waiver at a gas station, I believe it was, instead of a Sonic, because he was actually seen scaring the people, and Sonic doesn't want to see his employee, doesn't want him to be around the employees and the customers, so they banned him from there. He actually laughs about it and thinks it's funny that they banned him because he says that the Mckamey Manor, they don't want him there. During the waiver and things, he also puts an asterisk and makes them initial by each exact statement of what's going to happen so that they thoroughly know. And I think that's one way he gets around the waiver. We'll talk more about some things in the video, but I think that's one thing he gets around the waiver is by putting that stuff and making them initial it so that they know. So the police can't really do anything, which he is under a very strong amount of investigation right now because of what he's done and what has come out with Holly. And I'll show you the video about her talking later on in the video too about the alleged claims against him as well. So one that I also found was explaining what horrifying experiences at the Mckamey Manor according to a woman named Amy Milligan. And this woman is actually trying to sue him for the psychological damage that he had put her through. She says it's not for the faint of heart, and it really was psychologically torturing for her. And the only reason why she said the haunt, which I believe in other videos that people have come out, is saying that the haunt was not scary and that they should go to it and check it out, is because so that he can release the footage so that they can have proof of things. So I think that's why they actually say that the haunt's not bad, is so that he can release the footage, because he won't release it unless you say that it's actually a really good haunt and it's something to check out. Well, Amy Milligan left with bruises, cockroach bites, waterboarded, and simulated drowning as well. Another interesting video I found was him discussing MK Ultra and mind control. So if you don't know what MK Ultra and mind control is, it's basically it puts you under, and they say things like there are keywords, triggering words that will make you go under or could make you react. So if somebody's been hypnotized, there are keywords that these people will say, and then later on, if they, like, for instance, say those words, then they could snap back into like a sleep state. So a good point that I believe Justice Sleuthing makes, because it has text on the screen with the video, is that she says, how does he constantly get the result that he does with all the contestants, which makes a lot of sense. So how does he do this? And that would be resulting to, I believe, hypnosis. She also says that it's not logical that one person has the ability to make everyone quit. It just doesn't make sense. Another one is, how is it possible that he can devastate even the most hardcore professional haunters? So video particular about the MK Ultra and hypnosis, it's actually a pro haunter who owns a a haunted house, and he thought he was brave enough to go ahead and do the haunt, and he says it's not for the faint of heart, and he didn't want to do it. He actually has a really traumatic experience. So initially there's a word that Russ Mckamey says, which is relax. So he'll be like, relax, you are relaxing. It is time to relax. So he emphasizes that word. So that's part of hypnosis during these things, that you don't want to do this. So that can get in your mind saying, you know, if somebody tells you you don't want to do this or you can't do this, you want to prove them wrong. So the video starts out that he actually duct tapes the guy's eyes shut, and he has headphones playing, which nobody really knows what's going on in the headphones. But he's leading this guy, and I guess the guy hears something like under a hypnosis state, and he starts freaking out and wanting to back out. And the guy actually goes into a complete trance to where nobody can like wake him up or anything. And they actually have to lead him back to the house to rest. And then, of course, Russ Mckamey gets his video out with live feed to show his audience, about saying it's for safety purposes, and that he is going to show his audience what he experienced. The next video we're going to talk about is the medical room. And this, wherever it's at in the Mckamey Manor, is disgusting. There's instruments laying out on the table, what looks like blood on the table. He locked these people up. I don't know if it's in like a coffin type thing or what's going on exactly where they locked them up, but there's 2 men in there, and he must have really messed them up because they're in a trance-like state as well, and it's very hard to pull them out too. Of course, he goes Facebook Live, as he does with all his contestants. The video that we're going to talk about is the exit interview with Marissa Phillips. She actually cut her hair and said it was amazing. Now that's going back to him saying, I'm not sure where I left off, I had to pause it, but in her exit interview with Marissa Phillips, the first girl that I talked about in Justice Sleuthing's video, about the actor saying that they blackmailed him and things. And her haunt actually only lasted 45 minutes. And she was scared of needles as well in the video. She ate things that she wasn't sure of, and that it was very physical and painful as well. They cut her hair off. She actually, it'll be linked in the description, but it's actually her describing what happened in the Mckamey Manor. If you watch it, you can tell that she's very uncomfortable doing the video, because I believe Russ put her up to it, is what she said. So he made her make this video about the exit interview of the Mckamey Manor. Now, this next video we're going to talk about is insane. So I don't know if this video is called Russ Uses Dirty Needles to Inject With. Now, this one, watch at your own risk, because it is pretty disturbing what he does to the contestants. Now, I don't know if this is true or not. Later on in the video, we'll talk about how Carol, one of his exes who he was with for 15 years, said that they are retractable needles, but I'm not 100% sure if that's true. He puts headphones over them and goggles so they can't see. And it starts out that he actually lifts her arm up to inject her with something. I'm not sure what if he is injecting her, I'm not sure what the drug would be. So he says throughout the video that he's going to put her in deeper, and he just talks about how, oh, look how she's going in deeper. Now her heartbeat's slowing down. Oh, look at her twitching. Like, he is so proud of this. It's disturbing. And we'll talk about what she hears in the headphones here in just a few minutes. So I'm going to go through the notes because I took them down as he was saying it. So he says that he'll put her in deeper and then he injects her. In my opinion, the reason why he makes you pass a drug is if he is injecting you with drugs so they don't counteract with each other. And then he goes on to say relax, and which is part of mind control. He keeps saying relax. And nothing about the background in military has to do with him. That's another thing. He has background military, but what does this have to do with it? So she's under hypnosis, and it's actually with a dirty needle. You can see like the liquid in the syringe part, and you can see how dirty the needle is in the video. If you watch it, it's kind of blurry and hard to kind of tell what's going on, but he talks a lot in the video about it, like how he's proud about how he's put this girl underneath hypnosis. So he keeps checking her pulse, and it's a very serious dose. He didn't give her a very serious dose, so she wouldn't, I guess, maybe go under so deep or possibly even kill her. He's showing his audience her sleep state, he calls it. So he's actually Facebook Living again, or either recording and uploading it on YouTube. That she's under mind control and is slightly twitching. He runs through old school. He runs the soundtracks and things under or through an old school iPod. Obviously, you can tell that this is MK Ultra. He's injected, possibly. I'm not going to say that this is what he injected with, but could be possible Novocaine. I believe he says that in the video. Don't quote me on it, but it's hard to kind of understand what he's saying. But if he's injecting her, I looked up the science, and I'll throw the screenshot up here of what Novocaine will do to you if it's injected at a dosage into your bloodstream. And also with like hypnosis and mind control, that can be another thing of, you know, even though Novocaine, you know, is used to treat like in dental work and things like that, but if it's injected in your bloodstream, I think it interacts differently with your system. I'm not a doctor, so I'm not sure if anybody is. Go ahead and leave it in the comments below if that's how it works or how it possibly may work, or if somebody knows a little bit more about it. Might be affected differently, like I said. So under hypnosis, things like that, with him injecting this into her, she's really going into a state. And then he's gently touching her hand. He also gently waking them up. He says whenever they're under hypnosis, you don't want to startle them because that can be a lot more damaging. Like they could have a heart attack or whatever may happen as well. He talks about how both of her fists are clenched and her breathing getting heavier, and she's still under. He starts to come out of it. She actually starts to come out of it about 30 minutes later. And then she actually goes back under, and he starts to wake her up because I guess she's so deep under that he's worried about her at this point, which I don't understand why he would be, you know, only for liable reasons. I don't think he wants that to happen. And whenever she comes out, she says that, you know, it was traumatic and that the soundtrack that's playing is amazing. She started hearing voices saying, "Ask me, ask me, ask me," and started seeing light and geometric shapes. The voices changed and said, "Go tell Ashley," for some reason. And then "Ask me, no," they kept saying, and she kept seeing free-falling shapes and started seeing bigger shapes than black and silhouettes moving fast. And then they were moving towards, and then they were moving backwards, and she felt like she was walking on a rope bridge. The soundtrack repeats. It sounds like scratching noises, the geometric shape world, and looking through a kaleidoscope, rotating. So if you've ever kind of studied like hypnosis and mind control, a lot of things like the circle, like the round circles, the black and whites, if they, you know, go towards you, and that can be under a hypnosis state. You know, geometric shapes can be under hypnosis state. Really just depends on the person. I've never been under it, but from what I see and I've heard about, that's part of a hypnosis state. The next video we're going to talk about is Josh Owens' video, which is, I believe, somebody who went through the Mckamey Manor, was pretty close with them. So he actually got in on a Facebook page or group. It's called the Mckamey Manor Shitposting Truthers Reborn. It's the same dark place he needed. He says that the reason why he went to the Mckamey Manor is he had a lot of dark places that he needed to come out of. So he went ahead and was obsessed with Mckamey Manor after he dove deep into what was going on with, like in his past. He dove deeper into the Mckamey Manor because he felt like that would fix things. I believe, like him losing control maybe would fix things in his life. So I'm sorry that happened to you, Josh, if you ever seen my video. It was back in 2008 of MySpace days. It was nothing like advertised. He was a big supporter. The Holly, that's his ex, which we'll discuss here in just a little bit. He talked to her for a while, and would ask him if he's into BDSM, R porn, which I'm not going to say the word. It's a 4-letter word. Ends in E. I'm pretty sure you know what it is, but that porn. Asked if he was actually molested as a child, and the night he left, coincidentally, the night he left for Mckamey Manor, the only accident he's ever been in, he got into an accident. I think that was something telling him that he didn't need to go. Anyways, he did end up going and said that it was horrible of what actually went on. But Truthers Anonymous, I believe he was a part of as well. Edited footage of tours on a hard drive, which is he actually released the footage out to the public, I believe it was, or somewhere he did. There was 2 terabytes full of unedited photos or videos, and that's a crazy amount of videos. He says that the things that he put out could have led to Holly's exit from the manor, graphic images and video as well. And he got death threats. He actually got glitter bombed and was gone a lot longer. And Holly was the money draw for a long time at the Mckamey Manor. Was running a non-profit organization, Russ was, and we'll talk a little bit more about that as well, how he gets around different things too. It says that there was live videos, maybe 60 to 80 or as low as $40 that you would pay actually to get in. So it's not just a bag of dog food. You would also pay money to get in, he said. And he said there's a lot of investigation going on with Russ Mckamey right now as well about what's going on and about what Holly has said about Russ Mckamey. There was a breast cancer group that came there, and he said that he would donate to money to the charity, but of course he never did that. And he also opened business. The reason why Russ Mckamey got kicked out of San Diego is because he opened business license, and we'll talk a little bit more about that during Carol's video here in just a few minutes. He never paid the debt, and there's also not a big police department in Somerville, Tennessee, so it's very hard to, I guess, hold him accountable to things because there's not a big police department in there. There's multiple investigations of business license to molestation, revenge porn, which is giving nude photos to a significant other, and then them going out and spreading them around. There actually used to be a website, but it's been taken down for people who would be vengeful and want to do that to their ex. 5 investigations that currently Russ is under. Now, here's a very interesting video. I don't know if you guys heard this audio, but it's about Holly Shaletto, which is who Russ was with for a long time and actually worked in the Mckamey Manor. So I'll pull that up. Also, I want to note that this is according to Surviving Life's video as well. And I'll link, of course, the video in the description. But this is according to his, he actually has a part series. And what's really weird is whenever he was going to do an interview with Loie Lane, his channel got flagged that day. So he had to delete all the live videos. But now it's up and going again, so you can watch them. So let me skip to the part of where she's talking about it.
What Russ Mckamey is, when I was doing the haunt with him, he would tell me his sick, like, I guess, to him, they were images, but I think they were fantasies. He would tell me his sick fantasies that he has with kids, with children. He's a passive pedophile. Now, when I say passive pedophile, meaning he would go to Walmart while I was there shopping, and he would just be looking at kids in in dresses and skirts, girls, boys, teenagers. I mean, honest, yeah, he is. Now, this goes back to me back in the 90s of that domestic dispute back in San Diego. The reason is children don't like him, like his boy, his son. It's probably he hurt his kid. He probably molested his kid. It was weird because in San Diego, there were a box of pictures that he wanted me to help move, and he wanted me to clean off the pictures because he thought the pictures were dirty, and I went through all these family photos he wanted me to wipe because his OCD was so extreme. But then I saw pictures of him. He took of his boy, and his boy was fully clothed, but it was weird. Like the child would just pose in like a very sexual manner, like show his bottom to the camera. I was like, what the fuck is this? yeah, he fantasizes about kids, and whatever woman is in his clutches, he's gonna tell his dirty fantasies to, and he's gonna say, it doesn't mean anything that I thought that I put my face down that little girl's crotch or shit like that. It was so insidious and disgusting. I mean, you wanted to claw out your ears, but he made me listen to that and crazy crap like that. He'll deny it to this day, but the truth is, I came back so many times to protect the children in that neighborhood from the real boogeyman.
So have a listen.
He would choke me out all the time to build up my neck or whatever, but that's a felon to choke people. It's a felon. He would bite me. He would bite hard on me. He left my back with bruises, and one of the contestants saw my bruises. They're like, "What happened?" He did deprive me of food. I mean, I remember times I would say, I'm like, can you please go into town and get food? I don't have a vehicle. And so I walked to the town to get food, and I would carry a big backpack because he wouldn't get off his lazy ass to go get food. And there was a time where I would just eat ice in the freezer because there was dog food. There was plenty of dog food, but nothing for me and to eat. And there was food. And there was times where he wouldn't eat. It was weird. And so that was a way to control. I'll control you. I'll just starve you. And the dog was dying of cancer. And it was my birthday the very next day. Well, that night, I was sleeping next to the dog, sleeping bag, and he did something so creepy. Yeah, I mean, it was creepy. He went and sang happy birthday to me while I was sleeping next to a dying dog. But this was so sick. The very next day, when we had to put Rocky down, and you didn't have to put him down right away. You could have just kept him, making him feel comfortable. But he knew that, well, since it's a birthday, I'm gonna really make her remember a birthday. And so we took the dog to the vet, and they said, "Look, we have to put him down because he's dying." And I understand, to end the dog's suffering, but when they injected the dog, I think they injected with potassium. What he did, he said, "No, I was crying. I was in tears. You know, I've never been next to a dog that was going to sleep. I didn't want to see that." But he's, "Oh no, you're going to see this because I don't want Rocky to die alone. Because if he goes alone, then that just shows guilt. His favorite weapon of modality is guilt." So he made me. Told me to pick up Rocky's face while the dog was dying after he just got injected, and he started taking pictures of me holding the dying dog. When I was bawling, I was crying, and he was just filming and taking pictures. I don't want him to hurt a kid. I'm very sorry that he was hurt as a kid, but like they said, it's a vicious cycle. If you're molested as a child, then as an adult, if you don't get healed from that trauma, or and if you choose to go ahead and be an evildoer and hurt kids, and yeah, I mean, I'm not justifying what he does, but he needs to get help. He needs to be locked away in a loony bin. He does.
So yeah, that has to do with Holly, what she's talking about. Those are all alleged. That's according to her, of what Russ put her through and what kind of person he really is. Now, if he is a passive pedophile, this man, even though he's a horrible person and he's committed horrible acts on people, he honestly needs help, and we need to talk about more mental health. I'm not sticking up for the guy, but we need to talk about more mental health, because there are a lot of people who, people view it as, they're just trying to get attention maybe, or that it's not a big deal. And honestly, it is. From somebody myself who suffers from mental health, I'll be transparent with you guys. Talk a little bit more about that. I'm going to be wanting to release a video about the reason why what happened between an ex and me, and what caused my mental health to be how it is. I want to do a video on that. It'll be a little bit away, but I'm going to do a video about that. But like I said, I mean, mental health is something that we need to really talk about, and that we need to come together as people and, help people who are going through mental health issues, be there for those people. Now, there's another video that she talks about in part 2, where he's very dangerous. She actually was wanting to be a contestant. He would Skype women to lure them in. That's how he lured her in. He would, you know, say he loved her and all kinds of things. But of course, he didn't treat her very well. The night that she escaped, she talks about that she actually went through a field, and that was the only way to escape. And when she went to the police, the detective actually wanted to buy her a ticket to get out of where she was at, to get away from him. He sends her tons of emails harassing her as well to this day. He called a repairman to get something fixed. And Russ Mckamey thought that she was flirting with him and got very mad. Grabbed her arm, went to the trench, and then dangled her body over the trench. He would like pretend like she was falling, and then he would catch her, pretend she was falling and catch her. He is a groomer, and she suffers from PTSD, depression, that, and I know how that is because I have PTSD from a traumatic experience, and it is not fun. It's not something I would wish on my worst enemy. She was also waterboarded. She actually caught walking pneumonia, and he would not take her to a hospital. She actually laid on the floor, curled up in a ball, very sick, and he refused to take her to a hospital and said basically that he didn't care if she lived or died. And that she needed to shut up because he was tired of listening to her cough and being sick around him. About how he is in her head all the time, which I can completely understand that because I have a similar experience, that whenever you go through something traumatic, like, and you have an experience like PTSD or something, depression, it takes a very toll on you, especially mentally. So yes, they do get into your head a lot. And the reason why she wants to do the interview with Surviving Life is because she wants to warn his new girlfriend, which Russ Mckamey does have a new girlfriend, and she wants to warn the girlfriend that he is bad news and very dangerous and to get away from him. She said the reason that she would stay is because she wanted to protect the children from the boogeyman. Says the whole time that she was in the relationship, she wanted to commit suicide, and at that point, you know, being so low that you actually want to end your life, you need help, you know, you need somebody there that's gonna be there for you and care about you, and obviously Russ Mckamey didn't do that. He actually put a bag over her head one time, and she said that she didn't care if she lived or died, that she just wanted to end it all, which is very, very sad. And Holly, if you ever watch this, if you need somebody to talk to, I'm here, and there's a whole community of people with like Surviving Life's channel, and I'm sure a lot of other communities that would love to be there for you and to help you along the way. So just know that we are all here for you, and we are all fighting and rooting for you. So I know this has been a long video, guys. This is going to be the last video that we talk about. It's going to be about Carol's video that she talks about how it was living with Russ and how it was being with him. Again, like I said, this is another Surviving Lives video. Definitely check it out. They are a couple hours long, but they're worth watching. I don't want to make this video too long. So Carol actually lived with Russ for 15 years, and she was before they started the Mckamey Manor as it is today, they had a boo hunt, and actually she said that was a lot of fun, and that it was a lot of kids loved going to that, and he was a completely different person than he was back then than he is now. She says that they actually worked at Disney World together, and there was a man in his younger days that actually touched Russ, and he became obsessed with this guy and wanted Carol to actually go kill him. She says that he had a lot of OCD problems, that he lived with, like walking through the door 50 times before he could go into the house, and making her do the same thing. And if he didn't do that, he would get very mad and kept calling her. He would actually call her phone numerous times, like 50 times, and she said that he would call and call and call, and that if she wasn't home at a certain time, and he would tell her that he was going to call the police for stealing. When he got famous, that his ego went through the roof, she said as well. She also talks about how he would be talking to other women in the next room, and she could hear everything that they were saying, and if she asked him to stop, he would get very angry at her as well. Also made her discipline the kids. So Carol basically did everything for the whole family. She would cook, she would clean, she would make his dinner, she would do everything, and he would just sit on his butt all day long. The only thing he really did was discipline the daughter occasionally, I believe it was, but he would discipline them, and that was just about it. Everything else that she did for him. He had also threatened to kill her numerous times, and suicide threats in front of the daughter, so basically saying that, you know, if she didn't do something, he would kill himself. And that's a way of manipulation, getting inside your mind. You know, you don't want to see that person get hurt, so you do everything you can to go ahead and make sure that they don't get hurt and that doesn't happen. One thing that was very sad is that the day that her mother passed away, he actually made it all about himself. So the day her mother passed away, he would tell her, well, you need to fix my dinner, or you need my clothes ready. I need my clothes ready. And she said, I don't care about your stuff. Like, my mom passed away and I've got to worry about the funeral. And he just didn't care. It was good that she was gone to the funeral because he needed a vacation from her. How disturbing is that? Just your mother or a family member just died, and now your significant other is saying that, oh, well, they need a vacation from you. That's disturbing. Things are disturbing about the whole situation. You can look a lot deeper into what I'm doing. I just wanted to revisit this because there was information that I found out that I wanted to add in. $100,000 to pay off for the bills. And Russ had $420,000 in retirement fund, and whatever he thought was his money was his money, but her money was his money too. Asked Carol to help him to find help, and she tried as well. He also would control everything that she watched, so the only thing really that she was able to watch was the cooking channel. Back to having to serve him dinner and his food all the time, she says that she had to bring it to him, and he actually had a DJ job. And he actually made $125 an hour, which if I was making that much, I'd just stay with that job. She said that the haunt started out in the van, and the actors actually had to clean it out. And that he never did. So everything that the actors like, if they or the contestants, if they peed in it or whatever it may be, it never was cleaned out, which is disgusting and very unhygienic. So that water that you see that people are sitting in, that's never cleaned out. The actors had to try and clean that out, actually. Also, the locations that he talks about, that she said in different locations that he talks about, actually is just different places like grocery stores. She said that one was a sewer area that he went to, but made it seem like he was going to all different locations. But actually, it was just these different businesses that he was going to. The man that he claims died on his tour never actually died. He claims that he had a heart attack and died during the tour, but this never actually happened. So the reason why he was able to operate in San Diego is because he had, or in the backyard, is the homeowner's insurance would cover the backyard. Eventually they said they didn't want anything to do with it anymore, and they stopped covering it. It's also started a GoFundMe, but that money that he said was being used for certain things was never actually used for that. I have no clue what he did with it. Guess he pocketed it, I'm not sure, but he never used it. He also beat people but never put the video out, like I was talking about at the beginning. The reason that I think these people say that it was a good haunt and that something that people need to check out is because they want that video footage released, and without them saying that, he doesn't release the video footage. Retractable needles that she says, like I said, I don't know, but the video seems a lot like he is actually injecting people with certain drugs. That he gives them pills, but they're actually Tic Tacs. Also, she says that there's no Vegas, but Gabby, in her video, if you watch that, she says that he talked about how Vegas, people were betting on her and talking about what was going to happen next. And in the live stream as well, Lindsay, which is his daughter, does come on and talk about things as well. Lindsay also says that there was a lot of times that Russ would take the phone away and would not let her even talk to her mom about certain things. Says that she was constantly in flight or fight mode, which I mean, that would make sense if you were around somebody as sadistic and manipulative as Russ Mckamey is, in my opinion. So Lindsay and Carol talk about the times that that Russ Mckamey would leave the house. They always had a really good time together. They would watch certain shows together. They would cook together. They would have a great time together. The night that Carol left, she said that she loaded up 9 Greyhounds and her friend Angel. They both took a car out and to Arizona, and she just left in the middle of the night. And she also says that whenever they were leaving the Mckamey Manor, that she got pulled over by police, and she thought for sure it was Russ calling the police on her. He blew up her phone that night saying where she was, or asking her where she was, and I guess she just ignored it. It says that Holly, which was the girl I talked about, moved in 3 days after she had left. So he had a fantasy that they would all live together, so Russ would like live on the couch, and then Holly would live in one bedroom and Carol would live in another bedroom. Says that he talks about how there's $500,000 in props, and that's completely false, as well as $25,000, and she's also in debt still as well from him, and she's in a lot of debt from him from everything that he that mortgages she had to take out and different loans and things. She's in debt from that. Also says that Russ never bought her presents or anything, never remembered special occasions, never did anything like that for her. Another thing is that Lindsay says that people on a live stream thought was that she was defending her dad, which she says she wasn't defending him, but he is very sick and needs the help, which is very true. He honestly does need help. He won't get the help. The family tried to tell him that he needed help over and over again, and he never got it. So there's no way he's going to get it from just strangers telling him. And that is something that we need to talk about, is mental health. Like I said, it's something that we don't need to ignore. It's something that people who you think might not be going through actually could be going through something. They may look fine on the outside, but they could be struggling on the inside. And we really need to talk about more mental health and be advocates for that. Carol says that she doesn't feel bad for him because, he could have sought medical evaluation and help before, but he never wanted to. He refused the help. He doesn't want the help, she says. Say that he is very sick, and the claims that Holly says that he is a passive pedophile, that that is something that he desperately needs help for. You have to understand there is a big difference between thoughts and actions. He is thinking about these things. He is not acting on them. That is a very big difference. Passive is that it's thoughts and not actions. And also the kids don't want to have a relationship with them, which I don't blame them at all, honestly. Would have been the mother of both the children. She was abused as well during the relationship with Russ. Stated that Carol knew too much, so he needed to get rid of her. Needed to leave her, and that's why he did, is because she knew too much. And so he starts over with new girlfriends, and so that they don't know what's really going on. So he starts over with new girlfriends. Well, another thing that we really need to help people with is, along with mental abuses, Lindsay used to actually cut herself and harm herself, which nobody needs to go through that. We need to help people who are in circumstances like that and be there for them. Carol also has protection at her house because she's scared to death that fans or that people who work at the Mckamey Manor may find her and actually try to hurt her. So she actually has a lot of protection at her house, which I don't blame her one bit. She's scared. She lives in fear that Russ may try and do something, and nobody deserves to live in fear for their life about things like that. That these people only want, fame and fortune and, want to be the fame and fortune and the notoriety of having anything to do with the Mckamey Manor. Lindsay and the brother have both been contacted by BuzzFeed and Netflix, and they refuse to, at this point, do any kind of interviews with them, but they don't know what they're going to do in the future. Russ has also stated that if he goes to jail, he will end his life. Carol also knows that one contestant actually ended up in the hospital from being beaten down so much. It's that the contestant that ended up in the hospital only wanted drugs. The reason that they had to leave San Diego is they lost the mortgage because actually Carol got fired from her job, so they had to move. So that's why they no longer do haunts in San Diego. She also says that Alabama hasn't been sold out, and that's a lie. So if he's telling about that, it hasn't been sold out, it's a complete lie, is what Carol says. I thought is that Carol and Russ met at a single parent meeting as well. Lindsay and Carol talk about how he was before the haunt. He would sing. He would do actually fun things. He was a charismatic guy, and they don't know what actually went wrong as to why he is the way he is now, because he used to actually be a really good person. I found interesting was that Linda, which is Lindsay's mom, wants to write a book, and I'm all for reading that. If she does write a book, definitely would be behind her on that. So Linda, if you are watching this, go ahead with it. You have a story to tell just as well as everybody else who's involved. You guys have a story to tell. We're only YouTubers, and we're not actually, we haven't been through that, but you guys have, and you deserve to tell your side of the story. That's all that I have for you guys. I know this video is going to be pretty long, so if you want to like and subscribe, that would mean the world to me. If you have any questions, comments, leave them down in the box below. Thank you guys. Have a great evening.